is probably better left up to the ESPN experts to make a judgment on that.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it. It's about 10 minutes away, a little over 10 minutes from Rutgers, so we'll have a little break until right at 11 o'clock. Thank you.
Two, 1, 2, check, 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 check. 2, 1, 2. Hey, yep.
All right, we're just a couple moments away, folks. If you could gather up, Rutgers is en route. Coach Schiano, Adam Korsak, Julius Turner, and Noah Vedral will join us today. And we'll get some opening thoughts from Coach Schiano here in just a moment when they get up here. Give us just a couple of minutes. Thanks. Welcome, guys. Have a seat. Julius, Noah, Coach Schiano, and Adam. There you go. Guys, welcome to the 77th TaxSlayer Gator Bowl. Coach, if you could, some opening thoughts about the trip so far and what's lying ahead for you.
Sure. You know, it's just a great honor to be here today. I want to thank everybody with the Gator Bowl, the city of Jacksonville. It's been a great experience. I would be lying if I didn't tell you a very hectic one. It's not usually the way you get ready for a bowl game with 8 days notice, but we take it any way we can get it, and we're really, really happy about being here, excited about playing in the game. The players have had a tremendous time, and now it's time to play, and we're looking forward to it.
All right, we'll open it up for questions for the players or Coach Schiano. We've got a microphone, so put your hand up. We'll start here in the middle, yes. Name and affiliation, please. Thank you.
Sure. Gary Smith, Florida Times Union. Coach, thanks for being here. At this point, can we assume that you guys are going to be okay from a health standpoint to play the game?
Sure can.
Okay. And second of all, looking back over the last 6 or 7 days, you talk about the hectic nature of this. If somebody told you this is going to happen, are you surprised that you were able to mobilize this quickly in retrospect? And maybe what does that say for the people involved in your program for the fact that you were able to do that?
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say, is that I'm not surprised because of the people who work at Rutgers and the players that we have at Rutgers. When A&M pulled out of the game, jokingly, I called one of my guys that work with us, and I said, hey, you want to go to a bowl game? Literally joking. A half hour later, he called back and said, hey, that may not be too far from the truth. And I called the people who had the departments. I said, can we do this? They said yes. I said, okay. Then I reached out and asked a few of the guys if they want to do it, because I didn't want to be the only one that wanted to do it. And our players were great. Let's go, coach. And before I could get to them all, Johnny Langan texted me, Gator Bowl, let's go. So, you know, with the Gator emoji, these guys with the emojis. So I kind of got the feel, okay, they want to do it. And then we waited to see if we were going to be the team that got to come.
Here in the front row on the left, we'll get to you next, sir.
Yes, good morning. Andrew Snorton, Status Network. This is a question for Julius Turner. We've heard of the notion of stay ready. How would you explain, let's say, the stay ready mentality is helping you as you're preparing for this week's game?
You said what mentality? Stay ready?
Stay ready. Stay ready.
Stay ready.
Stay ready?
Stay ready.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we have a kind of mentality over here is CHOP, and we just, you know, always ready for anything. Like Coach said, I was surprised how you got everybody up here. Like, during COVID, we've been through a lot, and it's been so much that we have to do and maneuver and work through. So I knew he was going to have a plan. I knew he was going to have us prepared to everybody else to get up here. So, yep, we ready, and we're chopping, too.
On the front row, yes, sir.
Greg, Key Sargent, NJ.com. Do you look at a bowl game as almost like an homage to players or your veteran guys to get them in and start them, or as like a building block and try to play as many young guys as possible and kind of focus on 2022? How do you just go into it from that thinking?
Well, the bowl experience I look at as a reward for your team. You know, I think you have to make that something that they look back on as a great memory and enjoyable thing. Now, when you have the full time to get ready, we do it differently. We have a phase one, which is developmental phase, and that is always the young guys getting the predominance of the reps. So these guys would have come out maybe for 30, 40 minutes just to stay in shape and do some football stuff, and then they would go in, and the young kids would then practice for an hour and a half, 2 hours. We didn't get that, right? We had 4 practices to get ready, so this was truly a game week. But in a regular setting, once you get to the site, we've always treated it, this is a reward for the guys, and that's why the game plan's always installed before you get there, and then you shine it up at the bowl site. This has been different. This has been putting the game plan together, you know, as we go. So that's why my voice sounds like it does.
Here on the right side, and we'll go to the front row next.
Cameron Devereaux, Demi Deacon Digest. Coach Giano, Dave Clawson the other day mentioned that you made a little pit stop after his first year at Wake Forest. What's your recollection of how the team looked then, and how does they look right now? We're about to play them tomorrow.
Yeah, Dave and I have known each other for, I guess it's like 30 years. He's made a few pit stops with where I've worked, many pit stops actually. My wife and I were laughing this morning. We were probably both, I don't know, 25, 26, had no money. So they came to visit. I was a GA at Penn State, and she made us, I didn't remember this, but she says, yeah, I cooked all of you guys dinner, and you sat there and drew on the board. I said, oh, yeah, it sounds like us. So, but yeah, it's been 30 years and a great relationship. Dave, I have the utmost respect for. He's a guy that I, over the years, have called and bounced things off and vice versa. Yeah, so when I was down there, it was when I got let go at Tampa, I kind of went around on a world tour and visited a lot of places. I really enjoyed that visit, and now I understand it's totally different. Like, they had the little office and the little, now I hear the facilities are off the charts, and good for him. He's built a heck of a program there. He's, like I said, one of the guys that I respect most in this profession.
Let's go front row in the middle. Any other questions? Put your hand up. We'll get to you. The second row next. You third. Yes.
Greg, Chris Eisman from the Bergen Record. We spoke a lot last season about how, because it was so strange and needing to adjust quickly and pivot. I mean, how much do you feel like that prepared you guys for this current situation of just being ready to go as soon as you needed to?
Great question, Chris, and that's something that Julius referred to. You know, we were one of 2 teams, I believe, in the Big Ten Conference that played every game on our schedule. That didn't happen by accident. These guys were unbelievable in what they sacrificed to make sure we could play. So that gave me great confidence that if they wanted to do this, like they wanted to do that, we would be able to get ready and get mobilized. Now, I understand the disadvantages. You know, we have a group that's been preparing and in football shape and all those things. But as I told our guys, who cares, right? We'll get it as good as we can, and then let's go out and figure it out. We'll figure it out on Friday, and I think these guys are ready to figure it out.
Second row. Yes, sir.
Justin Lewis from the Times Union. Adam, this is for you. Could you talk a little bit about your schedule? I was at practice yesterday, and you said you were in Australia and just what it took to get you here. And then also, you're staying where the Players' Championship is, and I heard you say you stay up till 3 a.m. to watch that every year. Could you talk about that as well?
Yeah, so, well, to answer the last question, this morning I got on the 17th green, so I'm still on a buzz from that because of how good that hole is. So. But yeah, no, so about 6 or 7 days ago, I was back in Australia and went through LAX, and I saw a rumor on Twitter, get on the plane, arrive in Sydney, get through customs and all that, turn on my Wi-Fi, and then my phone just starts lighting up, like, come back. I'm like, well, it's not that easy, guys. And 3 days of quarantine, 2 negative tests, and then the next day, negative again, back on the plane. So it's a lot of flying, but obviously it's worth it. The great thing is I was able to stay punting, and I was able to work with Billy Taylor, who's a great long snapper who's in a Senior Bowl. So we were working almost every day in our indoor facility. Then got a chance to have a few punts in Australia as well. So yeah, I feel great. It's great to be here, and you know, it's a tremendous opportunity.
He loves golf so much. I do bed check the night before games. And he's the only player in all my career that when I go in, he's watching the Golf Channel. So
Here in the front row.
Hit the green in 17?
No, I don't think I would hit the green. I'd probably put it straight in the pond, but it was just great to just be out there.
Greg, Steve Politi from Media.com. I know a lot of fans are curious how much you'll be able to play with young guys, especially Gavin Wimsatt. He's got one more game of eligibility. Is he in your plan to get him out there?
We're going to do, Steve, whatever gives us the best chance to win, because I promised these guys that we're coming down, we're letting it hang out. So is Gavin part of that? Certainly. But we're going to play a ton of guys because we have to. It's going to be 80 degrees. You know, we left New Jersey, I think it was 34, right? And we hadn't practiced. We had two practices in the bubble. Tried to turn the heat up a little bit, but yeah, we're gonna play everybody that we think can help us win the game, and Gavin can help us win the game.
Just as a follow-up, besides the reward for the players, what is the single most important thing for the bowl game? Is it recruiting exposure? Is it showing the program to high school players? What would be beyond that?
Well, I think it is a reward for the players. That's the by far. So like, it's not 1 and 1A. It's like 2's down here, but it is that the program put itself in a position to do it. And why? Because the academic work that these guys did. We didn't win enough games to be bowl eligible, and we own that. What we need to know is the work they did in the classroom is what allowed them to be first up when an opportunity opened. So, you know, I tell them all the time, there are no coincidences. You know, we talk a lot about you reap what you sow, so.
In the back, yes.
Hi, Greg. Mia O'Brien, First Coast News. Being from New Jersey, I know my parents were following along diligently with all the reports that you guys were struggling to find an airplane. Can you kind of walk us through when you guys knew you'd have a plane?
Well, that's a great story. We always do this, right? Our theory is you divide and conquer. Everybody has a job, go do it. And, you know, because our defensive coordinator left, my job kind of got harder. So I literally would see Will Gilkison, who is our really runs the program. I don't know what his title is, senior something, 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 but he runs everything. And I'd be walking past him in the hall, got one. And then he'd come back after the next meeting. They canceled, we can't do it. You know, it wasn't obviously the planes, it was crew. It was staffing the planes. And finally we found one. We had to go on 2 different planes. So myself and a couple of guys and then the whole squad of players, we came down from Newark. But the rest of the staff came down. We had to drive up to White Plains to get the plane. And then we sat on the runway for 2.5 hours in Newark. And that was interesting. The kids were great, though. They just kind of did their thing. But once we literally, when the wheels got off the ground, I looked, Gilk was sitting next to me. I said, all right, this is official, we're going. So I didn't know if we would. And there was a lot of very funny suggestions like, well, you can take a train. One guy wanted it, why don't we get a cruise ship in Bayonne and take it to, I said, yeah, we'll do all those things, you got it.
Love it. And then also, if you could just describe the emotions for you, not only having coached in Tampa, but then also recruited this area so heavily during your first tenure at Rutgers, the emotions for you coming here to Northeast Florida.
Oh, I check the weather right away. I love Florida. I think it's a great place. And I told these guys right away, I said, it's going to be in the 70s all week. And, you know, they've had a chance to enjoy it. You know, I have not seen it, but my wife told me there was a bunch of guys at the pool and having fun. And that, to me, is what it's about. It's a reward. So I'm thrilled for them.
Here in the middle again, then we'll go here next.
No, Wake's got a great offense. They got a great team. I mean, they're 17th in the country. They deserve a lot of respect. And our coaches put together a really, really good game plan to take advantage of some of the things we've seen on tape. And we've been really working hard this week to, you know, kind of knock some of the rust off, but at the same time being aggressive and being confident in what we do. We have a lot of banked reps this season, and we're going to rely on that. We're going to use that to carry us through a lot of the game, and we're going to try to maximize our opportunities while minimizing our risks.
Got time for 2 or 3 more. We'll start here on the right.
Noah, going back to the rust part of things, as a quarterback with the most rhythmic position on the field, what's it like spending almost a month off of football, I mean, still working out, but getting back into the realm of things and how do you expect to go out there tomorrow?
Yeah, from a physical standpoint, I feel good. I can speak for a lot of our team. We do feel really good and rested, and we're excited to play. And I'd say the thing I was probably almost most rusty on was like reading signals. It's almost like it's a language you speak, and when you don't speak it for a little bit, it gets rusty. The good news is that one comes back probably faster than anything. So, but other than that, I wouldn't say we're very rusty at all at this point. So, feeling really good.
We'll get one more here in the back. Yes, sir.
Riley Platt for Rivals. Coach, I know Pitt and Rutgers haven't always been the best of friends, but in the ACC championship game, they really helped kind of expose some flaws, I guess, for Wake. How have you modeled that, or have you modeled the game plan after what they did?
Well, I think it's hard. Sometimes people say, well, just do what they did. Well, if that's not in your system, it's not the easiest thing to do. So you have to really, that's why you break down multiple opponents, and that's why time is a nice thing to have when you're getting ready. Right? So a regular preparation for a football game, our young coaches are always a week ahead. So you have the stuff done. When you get on the plane or you go to your hotel at home, the whole breakdown is done except one game, the game that your future opponent is going to play the same day you're playing. So we had none of that. So what we just tried to do was get as soon as we thought we might go, I told our young guys, I said, you got to break down these games. I said, and I got to be honest, we may not use any of it, but it's not going to hurt you. It's going to make you a better coach because this is a really good team and you'll learn some things. And I think they were probably as happy as anybody, but that all their work got to be used. But you can't really copy something that you don't do. Or you could, but I don't know how good you'd get. Noah used a term that we're very fond of, banked reps. Cumulative repetitions. Football's a game of repetition. So the more you do something and it becomes second nature, then you can do it under stress. When you make the changes, there are coaches and teams that do it. We haven't figured out how to do that.
Let's get one more in and we'll call it a day here. Right here in the front.
Thank you. Julius, I think this will be your 58th game career, a record that will never be broken unless there's another pandemic that we don't know about down the line and they give six-year seniors another year of eligibility. Can you put in perspective just how you've been able to play every week, week in, week out? And I guess as a follow-up to Greg, as a guy who's seen a lot of football, how impressive is it for a nose tackle to do it, to play 58 games in a row?
So basically just staying in a treatment room, just being able to, get my body right. But honestly, I think I'm blessed. I'm a big believer in God, so I think I'm blessed. And I think Adam, we was on the way here. Adam was talking to me he said, we go to a bowl game, I'm gonna break your record, right? I'm like, what? Then so I had to look it up and see it count as games. But it might get broke next year, they go to a bowl game. But honestly, I'm just blessed to be here. So that's how I big it up.
Yeah, it's a great point, Keith. I mean, the position that Julius plays, I'd say 80% of the time, every play you get at least start by getting blocked by two people, right? So to stay healthy that many games and to be able to show up each week, and I can promise you, I say stay healthy. This guy's a tough guy. He's played with a lot of pain because of the love he has for his teammates in our program. So that doesn't go missed by me. We're very appreciative of the toughness that he's displayed every week.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Good luck to you this weekend. Appreciate it. Dreams come true outside. There'll be an escort for you guys to go out there. We're about 10 minutes, a little over 10 minutes away. Actually, we're going to keep moving pretty quickly here. Wake is standing by, so if you're going to wait for Wake, you need to wait for Wake. They are downstairs. They'll be here momentarily in a matter of a couple of minutes. Thank you very much. All right, everybody, welcome to the Wake Forest portion of the morning. Head coach Dave Clawson, tight end Brandon Chapman, defensive lineman Miles Fox, Sam Hartman, the quarterback, Michael Juergens on the O-line, Luke Masterson, and Jasir Taylor. Coach and guys, welcome to the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl. How about an opening thought about the week so far and the preparation for the game, Coach?
Yeah, just first off, thanks to all of you for being here and covering Wake Forest football and the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl. We're honored to be here. We're extremely proud of our football program. We had a great season. We had tremendous buy-in from our football team and just had a great year. And these guys have worked incredibly hard to get to 10 wins, to win the ACC Atlantic title. The first team since Florida State and Clemson to do that in about 15 years. To play in an ACC championship game and to have a chance to achieve an 11th win, which has only been done one other time in school history. So we're proud of our season and thrilled that we have one more opportunity to play a football game together. I really want to thank the Gator Bowl committee, the chairman and our hosts and everybody associated with it. This has not been a normal year for bowl games. And, you know, when we won a 10th game against BC, you know, one of the things that we were excited about is, guys, we're probably going to be now in a Florida Bowl. And then when we got the invite to the Gator Bowl, our guys were fired up. You know, we have a lot of players from the state of Florida, and we were really excited to play, you know, the one team in the country that beat Alabama. And Texas A&M has a great program and a great team. And then when COVID hit, it felt like 2020 again. And we really appreciate how aggressively the Gator Bowl fought to keep the game going. Our players, we met with them when Texas A&M canceled. And they said that we want to play a game, but we want to play in the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida. We don't want to go anywhere else. That this was a reward for a great season. And if we're not going to play in the Gator Bowl, then if we finish 10-3, so be it. But we want to play in the Gator Bowl. And what they put out was, as they said, appropriately so, was a very aggressive want ad. And then it became a matter of a 5-7 APR team, or maybe a team in a second bowl. And I give Rutgers and Greg Schiano a ton of credit. I think it speaks volumes of the job that he's already done there, that you had a bunch of 5-7 teams with good APR scores that essentially said, no, we don't want to play in the game. And if Rutgers had turned it down, I'm not sure if we would have played. You know, maybe we would have ended up against another Big Ten team. But the fact that Rutgers wanted to play in the game and made great efforts to do so, I think speaks volumes about what Greg is building at Rutgers. And they had a great season. You know, this is only the first time since 2014 they've won 5 games. If you look at the 3 best divisions, not conferences, the 3 best divisions in college football, you know, whether it's the SEC West, the Big Ten East, or the ACC Atlantic, you know, we play in one of those divisions and Rutgers plays in another one of them. So they've played a playoff team in Michigan. They have played a top 10 team in Ohio State. They've played a top 10 team in Michigan State. They've played a very good Penn State program. And if you watch what Maryland did yesterday, there's a lot of really good football teams. So I know Greg, I've known him for over 30 years. He would not have taken this game if he didn't believe he was going to win it. And this is going to be a very competitive, very hard-fought football game against a really good football team in the Big Ten East. And again, you know, people will look at the record. You got to look at the schedule. And there's a lot of good football teams with winning records. If they played Rutgers' schedule, it would look differently. So again, we're thrilled to be here. We're excited for a competitive contest. And we just want to thank the Gator Bowl Committee for inviting us and finding a way to save the game, the city of Jacksonville, the people at the Omni for doing just such a phenomenal job of hosting us. And obviously Mother Nature has cooperated this year, and we're grateful to her as well.
Should be a great weekend here in Jacksonville, Coach. Let's start here on the front row. If you have a question, get your hand up. We'll get a microphone to you. Yes.
Dave, Keysarge at NJ.com. Your relationship with Greg, you mentioned 30 years. Can you pinpoint like an origin of how you guys kind of met and then how the relationship has kind of evolved over those 30 years?
So Greg had a fraternity brother and a teammate of his at Bucknell by the name of Ed Foley, who I'm very good friends with. And Greg is a year older than me, but I got to know Greg through Ed. And then when I went to the University of Buffalo, the person I shared an office with GA'd with Greg at Rutgers. So it was 1991, and Greg was the secondary GA at Penn State, and I was the secondary coach at Buffalo. And I went down to visit Greg and learn secondary play. And then as his career went from Penn State to the Chicago Bears to the Miami Hurricanes, I got named the head coach at Fordham in 1999. Greg got named the head coach at Rutgers in 2000. I think we were the two youngest head coaches in the country. Obviously, Greg was at a Power 5 level, and I was at an FCS level. But I used to go over and visit with him all the time. And we both were trying to rebuild programs that had not had success. And we stayed in touch. When he got the head job at Tampa Bay, I used to go down and visit him every year for not training camp, but for OTAs. And he would give me access to his team meetings, staff meetings, any meeting I wanted to. And then Greg's first year that he was not with Tampa, he came up and spent 2 or 3 days with us at training camp at Wake Forest. And I asked him to do an assessment of our whole program. Where he thought we were good. I asked him to evaluate coaches, things, and he had a 3 or 4 page report that was really helpful. So, I think we're both grinders. We don't talk to a lot of other coaches during the season, but when I'm dealing with a head coaching issue, Greg is certainly a guy that I reach out to, and he's reached out to me as well. So I think he's one of the best coaches in all of college football. He's one of the smartest, brightest coaches I've ever met, and I just have a ton of respect for him. And again, I know how competitive he is, and I know that he wouldn't have said, "Hey, we're in," if he didn't already study our film and say we can beat these guys. He's a competitor.
Here in the front row, and then you next, sir.
Dave, hey, Steve Politti from NJ.com. We've talked a lot about the challenges Rutgers had getting here and logistically getting their team back together, all that. I'm just curious, from your standpoint, you were preparing for one team, completely different opponent, even their personnel, you're probably not even certain who might be playing in this game for them. I'm curious if there's any, the changing opponents, how has that affected you?
It made it, instead of making it a bowl experience for our staff, it's made it more like a regular season game. One of the great things about bowl games is you can break down the whole season of 12 games, and you can take your time, and it's usually over the holidays, so you try to create a schedule that the bowl game is a reward not just for the players but the staff. And we had it all set up that our staff would be home Christmas Eve at 7 o'clock to have dinner with their family, and we were going to work 5 or 6 hours on Christmas. And then the game switched, and then it became a normal week. So, Christmas Eve became a 12-hour day. We worked 14 hours on Christmas because it was, it became like a typical Monday, Tuesday before a game. So I think for the players, I don't think the experience was that different. The impact was really on the coaches as you spent 80-some hours getting ready for Texas A&M. And then a week before, and that's normal, you usually have a week to prepare for an opponent. It just made it from a bowl experience to a kind of a regular season preparation.
Front left and then the second row, yes.
Good morning, Andrew Snorton, Status Network. This is a question for Jasir Taylor. 2 key themes of this team are 1-0 every week and then good to great. Describe to us how you've been able to maintain that mentality, especially as we've noted with the recent change in opponent, the health landscape, things along those lines.
Yeah, as Coach said, I don't think the opponent change really affected us that much. It just changed it to a normal week preparing for a team. Then going 1-0, that's something that we preach in our locker room and our meetings each week. And it's very hard sometimes to do that, but when you go into the team meeting room
connect with your guys, and just focus on the task at hand, kind of gets easier.
Here in the second row.
Yeah, Gary Smith, Florida Times Union. Sam, before they changed opponents, in one of the early news conferences, Jimbo Fisher talked about how difficult Wake was going to be to defend, and that you did some things that other teams did offensively, but you block it a little bit differently, and he said there were some challenges. What is it, do you think, about your offense that puts so much stress on other defenses?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is we got playmakers everywhere, and every play can be an explosive play. You know, shout out to Coach R just for, you know, he puts us in situations where we can be successful and you know, first down, second down, third down. And, I mean, yeah, we do things differently, but it's all the same. Ball goes forward, and we try and get first downs and get touchdowns. But, yeah, I think it's just the explosiveness on every play is probably the biggest challenge to defend. It's pretty. I mean, that's about it. I mean, there's explosive plays possibility at all times, and you know, it keeps defenders on their toes.
Let's go to the right side here, and then the back.
Cameron Devereaux, Demon Deacon Digest. Sam, can you touch a little bit on the benefits of having an extra game after the ACC Championship game versus last year, where it kind of felt like you got to stew on the bowl game against Wisconsin for an entire year, and now you get another chance to get back out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to, you know, get another crack at it. I mean, I just, you know, for the seniors, I think about them. You know, I felt like I carried that one, you know, after Wisconsin for a while, just, you know, knowing that a lot of guys, the last games went out like that. But, you know, just happy for the seniors like Luke, Chap, Ja, Miles, that they get another chance to, you know, go out on top is probably the biggest thing.
In the back, yes.
Mia O'Brien, First Coast News. If any of the seniors want to take this one, just describe the ascension of Wake Forest over the last few years. I know Dave mentioned that, you know, it's the first time a non-Clemson Florida State name has won your division. What has this year meant to you and your dedication to this program?
That's a great question. I think I touched on this. We all have senior talks, and I think I touched a little bit on this in my senior talk. I think when we set that motto to go from good to great this year, it was a really aggressive motto. It wasn't something that we've done in the past, and I think when we put that out there, the whole ACC looked at that, and if we didn't accomplish going from good to great, we would have looked pretty stupid. And I think just the complete buy-in from everything, from winter workouts to spring football to summer workouts and into camp, it was the best that I've ever been a part of at Wake. You know, the seniors obviously helped lead that, but even the scout team was the best scout team that I've ever seen. And we had complete buy-in from the whole program. And I think if you're going to accomplish something that we wanted to accomplish, you have to have that. So it was really a team effort, and I think everybody completely bought in from the start to finish.
Kind of piggybacking off that, I haven't been here as long as everybody else up here, but since I've been here in 2019, I've noticed the culture is just different. You know, Saturday mornings, the whole team is in the indoor, you know, working out, coach is not there, you know, and then going from there and just getting better every single year. It's been something very special to be a part of.
Other questions here on the right? Yes.
Miles, with the departure of Lyle Hemphill to Duke, obviously things have gotten shifted around with who's kind of calling plays, coaching adjustments, et cetera. How do you feel like the guys have handled the departure / moving to this different sort of system and play calling going to the game?
Coach Hemphill did a great job. You know, we're all going to miss him. You know, all the other defensive coaches have done a great job with game planning, you know, not skipping a beat. So we're really confident on how we're going to do. We're fine.
Here in the front row again, we've got a few minutes left.
Dave, I know your offensive coordinator's from New Jersey, and you have some, I mean, you've talked about Fordham, and you have a lot of Northeast roots, but can you just talk about your philosophy with recruiting New Jersey? I know Jasir, you know, is from the state, so can you just talk about, you know, how, you know, you made New Jersey an emphasis?
You know, I always joke that the heart and soul of our program, we always is going to probably usually come from within the 5 hours of Wake Forest. So if you look at our roster, it's predominantly North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Virginia. Jacksonville has been a great, great city to the Demon Deacons. You know, from Riley Skinner to John Wolford and Ryan Smenda and Javionte Nash. it's been a really good area. But sometimes the arms and legs can come from anywhere. And we will leave our little 5-hour circle to get a player that we think fits our school, fits our culture, and can make a difference in our program. And with Jasir, he was kind of a late addition. It looked like he was going to Temple, and we needed a defensive back. And his film just popped out when we watched it. And we flew up to New Jersey and spent time with him and had him visit. And I think guys like Jasir and Luke and Chap and the other guys up here kind of epitomize our program, that a lot of players we take, you know, maybe flew a little bit under the radar in terms of recruiting rankings, but they had intangible skills, a work ethic, a love of football. And to me, they're as good as a lot of the 4- and 5-star guys we play against, you know, 2 or 3, 4 years later. So these guys could play, these guys up here with me right now, they could play anywhere in the country. So we go after guys that we think that their best years are ahead of them, and there's no question with Jasir, you know, we thought a couple years in the weight room, and he had the right makeup to become an elite corner in the ACC, and almost all these guys up here proved us right.
Great. We'll go back on the second row behind you here, Dylan.
Dave, you touched a bit on recruiting, and I mean, with the state of Florida, I mean, you have Luke up there himself from the state of Florida. How important is this game and having this sort of spotlight on Wake Forest and gonna you envision helping recruiting when you're going against future Georgia, Florida, Alabama, all these schools?
Well, I don't know how many recruits we're going to beat on Alabama because we're in the Gator Bowl, but I think the 10 wins, obviously 11 would make it even more elite. I think there's only, you know, right now, you know, 14 or 15 Power 5 schools in the country that have double-digit wins, and we're one of them. You know, the facilities we've built have helped. But, you know, this is all, you know, you don't go from the bottom to the top. There's a ton of incremental steps that you take, you know, to go from non-competitive to competitive to average to above average to being a great football team. And we don't want to just be a great football team. We want to be a great football program. And great football programs find themselves in this position, maybe not every year, but consistently. And so all these and getting to a Tier 1 bowl like the Gator Bowl only helps us moving forward with recruits. And, you know, we had 12 commitments this year, and some of those schools that you talk about, the very, very elite in college football, came in on some of these players late. And if we don't win 10 games, don't get to an ACC championship game, don't get a Gator Bowl bid, you know, maybe they feel that they should go somewhere else and play big-time football. And now they realize, no, Wake Forest is playing big-time football. So these guys helped establish that, and now it's our job to keep that momentum going so that good to great doesn't become a one-season theme, but a program theme.
Got time for a couple more. Any other questions? Let's go to the back again. Mia?
Several people texting me asking. I know it's kind of warm in Carolina right now, but Luke, especially now knowing you're from Florida, I mean, are you guys enjoying the Omni? What's the go-to hangout right now?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I think we've been lucky to have really good weather too. Sometimes this time of year it's a little cold and rainy, so we've been really lucky to have some sun. We've all been hanging out at the pool a little bit. The hot tub's been a big place to hang out after practice and stuff. But just being out of practice too, feeling the heat. Guys getting a little crop top action on the shirts, and just enjoying it.
I don't know. You tell me.
We've got time for one more. I don't know if we'll top that one, though. Any other questions? All right, guys, congratulations. Good luck to you.
All right, thanks. Go Deeks.
Thank you all for coming, and we'll hope to see you here at the game tomorrow, the 77th TaxSlayer Gator Bowl. Thank you.